Welcome everyone, this is Kerjims channel. Now we are back to our new episodes of True Cinematic Champions and Comparison, featured by Wild League of Legends versus the Mobile Legend Bang Bang. But before that, please like and subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the bell icon so you will be notified to our next episode video. Let's do this!
Zoe is an ancient being, a cosmic messenger of Targon, and when the aspect of Twilight appears, she warps reality itself. Zoe's passive is more sparkles! After casting a spell, Zoe's next attack deals bonus damage. Zoe fires a star that damages in a small area, additionally applying extra damage from her passive. She can recast Q mid-flight to redirect the star. Its damage increases based on the distance it has traveled in a straight line. Send stars far away from enemies before recasting most damage possible. Some might even say tons. THIEM. What? It says spell thief. Enemy summoner spells and active items drop spell shards in the ground when they're used. Collecting a spell shard grants Zoe one cast of that spell or item via spell thief. Occasionally, minions can drop a spell shard when Zoe kills them as well. Zoe and her team can see which minions hold shards, but enemies can't. When casting any summoner spell or using anything spell thieves pick up, Zoe briefly gains bonus movement speed and tosses missiles at the nearest enemy, prioritizing her most recent target. Each missile grants the bonus damage from her passive. Remember, spell thief has no cooldown. It just requires you to have a spell shard. Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Zoe throws a ball that detonates on the first target hit, dealing damage and making the struck enemy drowsy. After a couple of seconds, drowsy enemies will briefly fall asleep. If a sleeping enemy takes damage, they'll take extra and wake up in the process. Damage over time effects, including things like Morgana's Tormented Soil, will not do bonus damage or wake the target. If the bubble hits nothing, it lingers on the ground as a trap for a few seconds. If cast over a wall, it gains bonus range. Zoe's ultimate is Portal Jump. When cast, Zoe teleports, then returns where she started after a short delay. Before returning, she can use abilities and attack normally, but cannot walk. Even if other movement abilities like Flash are used, Zoe will always return to her starting position. Unlike most ultimates, Portal Jump has an exceptionally short cooldown. She'll get to use it multiple times per fight. During your first laning phase with Zoe, you're gonna have to do some work to figure out her basic combos. Practice directing round minions to catch opponents off guard, while weaving in auto attacks between casts. Figure out how to land long-range paddle stars for bigger bursts. Putting your enemies down for a nap first makes it so easy to land your stars. Once you hit 6, you'll want to start regularly working Portal Jump into your combos. It effectively grants extra range and therefore damage to your abilities. Dodge skill shots, grab spell shards, or simply close the gap to land a guaranteed Sleepy Trouble Bubble. It is great for dodging incoming abilities, it is not any good as an escape tool. After pushing your lane, be your jungler's buddy, and look to prance into other lanes or the enemy jungle for picks. Building cooldown reduction early will boost Zoe's pick power through the early and mid game. Durability items will give Zoe more room to maneuver when you get into bigger fights. And of course, in all this, you want ability power. Since Spell Thief can cause almost any active item or summoner spell to drop suddenly, good Zoe players have to be creative to adapt to situations on the fly. If you see a flash in range, you might want to flash to grab it, then flash again to pick off their backline. Surf on the outskirts of fights, acting like an artillery assassin until you see the opportunity to push forward and collect vital spell shards to facilitate an all-in. Zoe isn't meant to be an entry-level champion. Her abilities can be combined in lots of different ways, and she'll take a lot of games to master. But if you stick with her, you'll become a star.
Zoe's strengths, kind of shake it up a little bit. And the first one is that Zoe has insane long-range bursts. And I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. when she throws a Q behind her, she ults, she flashes, she proto-belts halfway across your screen, and then one of your carries dies, just like that. Zoe is really good at getting kills out of the blue. Kind of like LeBlanc, except she doesn't have to be as in your face. Once Zoe gets her Luden's Echo and Oblivion Orb with some Sword Boots maybe as well, she can 100% of the time one-shot your ADC. If she can hit her bubble and she can ult in and hit a max range Q, she's gonna do so much damage, especially along with her passive, which does even more damage. And sometimes I've seen Detention take Lich Bane to capitalize on that passive damage as well. Zoe's second strength is that she is a pretty strong mid-game. And like I mentioned in the point before, once she gets about an item and a half, she has the ability to one-shot almost anybody on the other team unless they're building full tank. She's even stronger around objectives you have to set up, and one of the things that Detention's going to talk about in a couple minutes is vision control, and I think that is vital for success on Zoe. When you can control the vision around dragon fights and Rift Heralds and even Baron once you get into the later stages of the game, you're going to set up yourself and your team to get a lot of easy picks, which will turn into free objectives, and which will in turn turn into free towers, and hopefully the game if you continue to play well. Zoe's second strength is her mobility and her roams. I know they just nerfed Nimbus Cloak, but Nimbus Cloak is one of the things that makes Zoe so powerful. Because of her W, she can pick up different items or summoner spells along with the summoner spells she already has and proc Nimbus Cloak all the time, running around the map, hitting her empowered autos, and throwing Qs all over the place. If you throw this on top of her ultimate, which ports her a certain distance and then back, she can do a lot of damage and just do some really good scouting, which will give her and her team more information. She's great at roaming because she can throw her bubble super far against walls. Like, you can throw it from the Dragon Pit all the way over to the Red Tower. If you have the ability to do this and hit a max range Q, you're gonna have the HP of almost anyone. Alright, I know I'm talking kind of fast, but I want to give Detention a little bit of space to talk after this, so you guys can quickly bear with my voice as we talk through Zoe's 3 weaknesses. Zoe's first major weakness is that she's not very good against tanks, especially when you're the only source of AP damage on your team. I've seen this repeatedly in pro games, where the game has dragged out long enough for a tank to stack armor against Zoe's other teammates, and then she barely tickles in because she specializes in assassinating squishies and not in shredding tanks. And this is no fun at all when the enemy tank is running through your ADC, your jungler, your top laner, and there's nothing you can do about it because all of your abilities just kind of tickle him. So you need to make sure that you're picking Zoe with preferably another AP champion so that you can get more of that mixed damage and be more 50-50 on your team. Zoe's second weakness is that she doesn't have very good wave clear. She's known for not being good at clearing waves. Now, once you get a couple of items, I think once you're level 7 or level 9, you can one-shot the backline. Now, this is very helpful in clearing waves, but it's not like you can one-shot the melees as well. You're going to be spending a lot of time maybe sending some auto attacks to fully clear that wave. And this isn't good because especially when you're under tower, you want to be able to farm effectively. And you also don't want to lose the push game early if you're in a ranged matchup because then you lose pressure on the map. So being able to control Zoe's waves and managing her weak wave clear is super important. Zoe's third major weakness is that her ultimate is good for getting her into a situation, but not good at getting her out. She could ult away, but then she's just gonna have to go back to where she started and probably get killed. And so that's one of the reasons why you take Nimbus Cloak, because you want to be able to mask that weakness by using your summoner spells and getting that burst of speed. This means you have to be very careful with your positioning throughout the game because you're not going to be able to dash out or get out super easily. Alright guys, now I'm going to hand it over to Detention to talk about the 3 tips to carry on Zoe. Detention is a top 100 challenger Zoe main, and I'm really excited for what he has to share with you. Really quick, going over some of the housekeeping stuff like runes and build and all that. To start your summoner spells, you're going to take Flash and Ignite. There's no real shocker there. And then for your runes, you're going to want to go Electrocute, double Adaptive Force, and then Magic Resist or Armor depending on who you're playing against. For your skill order, you're going to max. Now for your build, this is kind of when it gets interesting. You're going to want to rush Luden's Echo into Sorcerer's Boots, and then if you're super far ahead and you've got some stacks on your Dark Seal, you can even go into Magi's Soul Stealer to increase the amount of damage you're going to be doing. After this, you want to go into Oblivion Orb, which you will build in the Morello later in the game, but then kind of your second and a half item almost is going to be Rabadon's Death Cap and Void Sap, and then finally at the very end you can get Zanya's, you can get Morello, you can get Leandry's, kind of whatever fits in there at the end. Banshees is also a great option. Guys, just as a disclaimer for always, stuff like this will change throughout patches and throughout seasons. button again if you haven't already, and also hit the subscribe button if you are a new viewer. YouTube is telling me that 90% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel. Guys, don't be in the 90%, be in the 10%. And as always, this has been Snowda. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.